The Australian Christian Lobby appeared before the Victorian Parliamentary Inquiry into the recruitment methods and impacts of cults earlier this week. And I've got to say, I'm really quite shocked, horrified and disappointed by some of the things their president, Jasmine Yen, said. As documented in this Guardian article, when the Liberal MP Rachel Westaway asked if there was any room for legislation to protect vulnerable people already lured into cults and who don't have the capacity to make an informed decision, Yen replied, "No. Yeah, that's right. The ACL are saying that vulnerable people in cults who don't have the capacity to make informed decisions should not be protected." On their Facebook page, they've even doubled down on this by playing the persecution card and saying that the inquiry is about criminalising Christian practices and criminalising biblical teachings. I have so much I could say about all of this, and it's difficult to know where to start. So I'll begin with a really simple comeback. The Bible endorses slavery, but slavery is illegal. If your religion conviction is that Christians have the right to enslave other people, then this is already illegal. And really, coercive control is just a form of slavery because it entraps people through psychological manipulation. When the ACL objects to group-based coercion and associated legislation being introduced, I'd like it to consider the reality of what it's really objecting to. In particular, my daughter's situation, where her cult leader is someone who believes he is one of the few Christians to ever understand and follow the Bible correctly. His beliefs include promoting the notion that lying is acceptable behaviour. In fact, he will lie routinely to keep his followers under control. This man also believes that stealing from charity shops is acceptable. And yet, strangely, he also believes that people who sin should seriously consider cutting off their own hands in order to prevent further sin. Although, contrary to a lot of conservative Christians, he also supports wanking. He promotes celibacy, but, if you can't hack it, then having a good wank's fine. He also doesn't necessarily object to abortion either. And basically his whole belief system is geared around the idea that people should forsake their lives. And I mean that in the most literal, horrific sense. Basically, the bottom line is there is no consistency of Christian belief across all groups. And when you actually stand up and say that protecting vulnerable people from coercion shouldn't take place, it just does not make any sense when you think about it in terms of rational behaviour and kindness and looking after our fellow human beings. And of course, the inquiry is not all about criminalising Christian beliefs or behaviours. It is about recognising coercive control in all groups, whether they're Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, multi-level marketing, your local sporting club, or whatever. Using coercion should never be acceptable. People should always be able to make informed decisions. So yeah, I think that this is quite interesting and it's quite telling that the ACL don't want to support vulnerable people. All it is interested in is supporting its own interests and is not willing to look at the bigger picture, which is a real shame because I do actually know a lot of Christians who are wonderful human beings and they support legislation for coercive control in high control groups because to them, that is how they express their Christian values.